Hello, everyone. Welcome to Etiquette Conversations with EFI and Shirley. This is our third broadcast, and our topic today is a season of grace, the etiquette and traditions of Christmas for those who are celebrating and those who are not. I am your host, EFI. I'm always delighted to be with you. This season is a time of joy, connection, and reflection, but also a time when etiquette plays a vital role in ensuring that the magic of Christmas is experienced by all. Whether you're the old generation, whether you're the new generation, we can all bring heartwarming conversations, heartwarming relation when it comes to navigating social norms, relationship, and experiences. Our aim today is to provide you with insights on how to celebrate this season with charm, respect, and grace. I am joined by my co host, Shirley Shalaby, and we will be talking about the etiquette and traditions of Christmas. Welcome, Shirley.
Oh, hello, Effie, and welcome everybody. One more time, we get together around the festive season and the happy season. And all those countries in the world are celebrating the end of year. And through our flat screen, we are exposed to the culture of every country. This is how the world is becoming smaller. So the festive and spirit and the happiness is felt by everyone. So both Effie and I, we have prepared some ideas to just open your eyes and immerse into that spirit in countries that maybe you did not get the chance to visit. So I've selected Egypt in Africa and Cairo, the capital of Egypt. How do they celebrate Christmas? We all know that Egypt is a canvas of religious diversity and cultural heritage. It is a colorful tapestry of ancient traditions that are met by contemporary practices. It's indeed a melting pot with many, many communities that coexist together since centuries and with a lot of camaraderie. So the culture is has ancient traditions and long, long history, and yet it's very, very colorful. So if we talk about Christmas, I have to mention the Coptic Christians. I'm not going to say ancient, but they are the descendants of the pharaohs. They
Mm.
consider themselves descendants of the pharaohs, and indeed they are. So Coptic Christians have their very special and lovely way to celebrate Christmas.
Mm.
First of all, they follow um, another calendar, which is the Julian calendar. So their Christmas is on January 7. It's not
Mm.
on December 25th like the Catholics. And
Wow.
this is always indeed, and it is always preceded by 45 days of fasting, which they call the nativity fasting, in
Mm.
which they abstain from eating meat and dairy products. And they dedicate this a portion of this period at church. They are extremely religious and they are real church goers. And let me say a word about the Coptic Church too. It's one of the oldest in the world, and it's always gilded and covered by full of icons that are in true gold or real silver, and really beautiful and so inviting
Mm.
to the Coptic Christians. So the
Mm.
entire family pays attention to the rituals and to getting ready for Christmas. How do they get ready for Christmas? First of all, they clean the homes. This is a way, this is a ritual, a tradition, and believing that this is how they get ready for Christmas, like washing the curtains, washing everything and getting ready, beside going to church and beside getting ready with the lovely costumes, dresses, the new clothes that the children will wear on Christmas day. Now
Mm.
come Christmas Eve, which is January 6th, the entire family would move to church with children, with babies. This is how it is, happiness together. And this after church, the service that's amazing and quite long, they break the fast. They come home, they break the fast, and the tradition is to eat a special Egyptian meal of Christmas. And I'm very happy to share it with our viewers.
Okay.
The meal is consists of the traditional Egyptian dish of feta, Fatta, and this is made out of white rice and pieces of bread that are soaked into the broth, the lamb broth, and the
Mhm.
pieces of meat on top, and almonds and all sorts of nuts and raisins. Such a heavy and delicious dish. Also, there is always the stuffed turkey, and the main dish soup is the green soup. Now, the green soup, if you look back to books of history, were the soups that were eaten during the pharaohs. This is a dish that came since the time of the pharaohs until now through generations, and it's called a very difficult name, molokhia. And molokhia is a green leaves that grew up in Egypt ever since the pharaohs, really. So there is also this soup on the table, and the stuffed vegetables, all sorts of stuffed vegetables. The dessert is sort of Middle Eastern, very known desserts. So right, so they got on that evening of Christmas Eve. What about Christmas Day?
Mm.
Christmas Day is a continuation of the celebration, and families visit each others, and there is a gift exchange, of course, and it's happiness. But let me go back to the culture in Egypt. All these are traditions and religious traditions, but yet there is also camaraderie, because the Coptic Christians, they represent 20% of the population almost, and there
Mm.
is among them a portion of the Syro-Lebanese, the Syrians and Lebanese who moved to Egypt, first immigrated to Egypt in the year 1800, and they settled at the beginning of the century, and they've added colors to the Egyptians. I mean, they came with their beautiful blonde hair and their French language and their recipes, and they are Egyptians. So this made Egypt a variety of colors, inclusiveness, coexistence, camaraderie, and a big society, a colorful society.
Wow.
What about the Muslims? The Muslims represent a good 80% of the population. Indeed, they celebrate Christmas. Mind you, in Egypt, people start the holiday spirit before Christmas Eve, which is the 24th of December, up until January 7. So it's a long span of church and parties and bazaars and exchange of gifts and observing rituals of Christmas. So I hope I've
Wow.
covered a little bit the spirit of happiness in this multicultural country. Mind you, let me add one more thing, that Cairo, being a very touristical city, so vendors and simple people, they are used to tourists. So they can
Mm.
talk every language and they can observe every religion. And in Cairo, like in no other city, would you find a mosque and a church and sometimes a synagogue in the same street.
Mm.
Before the end of the street, you have to find one next to the other. So that makes it
Wow.
a beautiful melting pot indeed.
Wow. Wow. Shirley, this is really history. You telling us so much about the way that Christmas is celebrated in Egypt. You've really covered for some people who have not visited Egypt. I'm certain that they really want to visit Egypt to know more about Egypt and how Christmas is celebrated in Egypt. And I would want to briefly talk about how it is celebrated in Nigeria.
Yes,
Uh,
please.
yes, so Christmas is celebrated in Nigeria. It comes with the Imber months. That's what we call the Imber months. That's September, October, November, and December. So the
Oh,
BER, Imber. Okay, so once it's September, then the season of Christmas begins to trickle in. Christmas is coming, Christmas is coming. And so parents start buying clothes for their children from that time. For those who would want bespoke clothes, they will take it to the tailors, the seamstresses, and all of that. And so they begin to prepare for Christmas. For those who dressmakers, you see that after October or after September, they stop receiving orders to make clothes because they are sure they won't be able to meet up with the pressure. So it starts like that. People begin to run around for things. And then the season for, as you know, Nigeria, we have Christians, we have Muslims. So the season for Christians, it starts for the Catholic um, and the Anglicans. It will start with Advent season,
oh yes.
where they begin to prepare in the churches, and then it goes to it then goes to we come to Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve services are celebrated, but now with a lot of Pentecostal churches coming up, that service is left behind for the Christmas Day service. And you remember, it's actually a time of reflection. And so, people, we are saying it should be about what Christ came for, what he came to do. The gift of Christmas is more celebrated now in Nigeria than just the day. It's about the gift, the
Nice.
person. Christmas is about a person. And then we come to traditions. So people hold carol services. I used to host carol services in here. People come around, they sing. Even the churches hold carol services. Even in schools, before secondary schools, they have Christmas parties. We really celebrate Christmas in Nigeria. We make it so much fun. And then on Christmas Day, you have the parks opened. State governments would decorate the streets, make lightning. People would invite neighbors to their houses to make Christmas something that is very delightful. Then in the villages and the different towns, you have people who are celebrating one masquerade. That's the way they used to know Christmas, to celebrate masquerades, to celebrate
Oh
so
nice.
many things. You have people having meetings. Christmas is actually homecoming in Nigeria. When I used to live in the northern part of Nigeria, um, by the 20th of December, like today, we start making our way back home. Everybody wants to come back home. Everybody wants to enjoy the season. So Christmas is really something that we celebrate. Now I'll go into our traditional food. The
Okay.
traditional Christmas food is actually white rice, stew, and chicken.
Uh-huh.
White rice, stew, and chicken. However, today people now make that rice. Some people will say, okay, I won't do white rice and chicken. I will do still chicken, and but I would make it jollof rice. I would make it fried rice. I'll make it brown rice. I'll make coconut rice. Just whatever it is rice. And then there's something I must add. It is actually live chicken that we use. The main thing is live chicken. It's not frozen. It's not. We use live chicken in Nigeria, and then clothes. I forgot to talk about that. Clothes. We begin adults, w- children. Everybody wants to wear a new dress for Christmas because it's a season to be jolly. So people are getting gifts. People are enjoying. People are having A wonderful time. But Shirley, there's a tradition that I want you to talk to us about, and that is the tradition of the Christmas cake and the Christmas pudding. Tell us more about it.
Oh, the Christmas cake and Christmas pudding is actually an Anglican influence. And
Mm,
the recipe of the Christmas cake went from one generation to another, and it got better and better. But what is the source of that? The first Christmas cake apparently was done, was presented to the ancient Romans, to the soldiers, to give them power. It was a kind of flat bread with currant and raisins and all sorts of fruits, but it was a bread. And then the idea moved to the English society in the medieval ages, and it got better in the
mhm,
Elizabethan age, which is the 16th century. And
mhm,
they've added more fruits to it, and it became associated with Christmas. And
mm,
right now, people make the Christmas cake. I are advised to make the Christmas cake at least a couple of months before Christmas, and you keep basting it with alcohol, with cognac, or whatever syrup you want until it's ready for Christmas Day. It's comforting and it's delicious and it's becoming international. Everybody
wow.
uses it. As for the plum pudding, let me say something. It's called plum pudding, and yet it does not have plum. It's all fruits, based fruits that you marinate and you slow cook.
Mm,
Delicious, but based on raisins and currants. It does
mm,
not have plums. But in the old ages, raisins were called plums. This is
mm,
why it's a bit confusing. But
mm.
indeed, it's lovely and
Wow.
international.
Wow. Thank you so much, Shirley. Now, you remember our topic today is a season of grace, the etiquette and traditions of Christmas. I'd want to touch on the etiquette of Christmas. Everything starts with an invitation.
Mm.
Everything, most things start with an invitation. You're invited. Now, if you're invited to a Christmas party. Now, whether it's family, there's an invitation because families gather together. You remember, we have said that it's homecoming. Everybody is gathering for Christmas. You're expected to invite everyone to come and have that dinner or lunch, depends on how you want to do it. Now, it starts with timing. You must come on time, or you don't want to come too early, not 5 minutes. If it's 4 o'clock, you can come in at 4, or and the latest should be 15 minutes after 4,
Mhm.
so that you don't keep your host waiting. You don't want to come too early so that you don't meet your host unprepared for you. And then something that I would want us to touch again is gift giving. How do we master the art of gift giving? Remember that it has to be personal and it has to be thoughtful. It has to be reflective of the character of the host or the person you want to give your gift to. Now, you must pay attention to what your loved ones have been saying over time. It's not the amount you used to buy your gift. It's how thoughtful the gift is. If you give me something I need, but I want us to also remember say to our viewers that it doesn't mean you don't buy suggestive gifts. For instance, you think that a person has bad manners and then you buy a book of manners for the person. That wouldn't be nice. So, Shirley, tell us more about some etiquettes that we should practice during Christmas.
The if I continue the
Mm-hmm,
idea of gift giving in
mm-hmm,
Christmas, I read something interesting. How did this idea originate?
mm-hmm,
It originated with the three wise men who went to visit baby Jesus with
mm-hmm.
gifts. So it became a ritual of Christmas gift
Wow.
giving. So when you
Mm-hmm.
talked about giving, I mean, the etiquette is to never forget to bring a gift if you visit someone around
Mm-hmm.
Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
Gifts equal Christmas. So
Yes. And
tradition
then,
and religion together.
wow, wow. And then also, don't forget, listeners, don't forget to be considerate of older persons. We said
Mm,
we're redefining modern etiquette one conversation at a time. But while we redefine Christmas, don't forget that there are older guests, older members of the family that are still steeped in tradition. Also, don't keep anyone alone during Christmas. Reach
mm,
out to everyone. And then remember to be thoughtful. Show gratitude to your host. And
mhm.
try not to ask. If you're asked, what present would you want to have? You should, I believe. Shirley, do you want to talk to us about that? But I believe that you should tell your host that anything they are willing to give you is fine with you. You shouldn't say, tell them what you.
Indeed, I mean, a gift could be a surprise because you know exactly what he would need. However, if you bring a gift, something to be put on the table, like food or a dish with
Mm-hmm.
a specific recipe or a dessert or your own Christmas cake, because people make cakes in quantities and they
Mm-hmm.
divide them as gifts. I'm one of those. I like to present my homemade Christmas cake as a gift. But if you present food in general, the etiquette says you need to tell the host first. Why is
Okay.
that? Because
Right.
it might clash with the menu at the
Okay.
table.
Hmm.
He could tell you, people are really modern now with ideas. He could tell you, listen, the theme is Chinese tonight, the food, and he doesn't want to stick to the Christmas or whatever. So chances are he might not like it or keep it for himself. But if it's a food gift, do mention it before. If it's something else, it's nice to keep the surprise and make a nice wrapping.
Wow. Thank you, Shirley. I'd also want to quickly touch on regifting. It is okay to regift, but it should be very thoughtful, and you need to be careful when you regift so that you don't offend who
Oh my
has given you the gift. It's and then when you gift, also if you're giving a gift, wrapping is very important. It shows that you have taken care into presenting what you should give. Shirley, would you want us to quickly talk about and each thing very briefly, hosting with elegance? If you're hosting me for Christmas, let's talk about hosting with elegance, because I know that hosting is a hallmark of the Christmas celebrations, whether it's an intimate dinner or a large gathering. How do we host with elegance and warmth?
You reach elegance if you are prepared. The
Mm,
housewife should be prepared with her menu, her dishes out, her cutlery out, the decoration done already, the colors and the lighting. Being prepared is the success, the secret of success. And not to look tired because you make the guests feel guilty, and
mm,
to be all prepared.
mm,
I'd like to add for the etiquette part the role of the guests. After the
mm.
party, a thank you note would be lovely. In
Yeah.
the good old times, we used to send them by mail, like the Christmas card. Now it's done electronically on by the phone, but it's nice and it's very lovely to send a thank you note that is very personal, not
Right.
a kind of sentence that I would send to everybody. And again, the host or the hostess, after everybody goes home, she would open her gift. So she would send a thank you note that is particular to this person. Not thank you everybody for coming. People are tired of the cliches. Please avoid cliches. And that
Mm.
would make all the communication successful and personal
Yes.
and authentic.
I want to also add that to our guests, don't forget to make the atmosphere filled with candles, soft music, festive decoration will be fine. Remember the Christmas colors, keep them so that we feel Christmas. Let's enjoy Christmas. For those who are guests, try to be a generous guest. Be gracious in when you attend Christmas parties. If you're not going to be attending, RSVP first. Let your host know that you will not be attending if you have an invitation, because so many people are inviting people over to their houses now. So you need to let your host know on time so that they can prepare for you. And if you're bringing a plus one again, remember to let your host know that you're bringing a plus one. And then, how do we preserve and adapt to modern traditions of Christmas?
Oh, there are. You find it everywhere. I mean, the decoration could be modern too,
Mhm, mhm,
and the ambiance. People should not be overdressed as long as you have like a red top or wearing something red, and
mhm,
you have the Santa Claus hat, but you are casual. So modern etiquette is could be comfortable, and
mhm,
again, it is authentic.
hmm.
But keep the spirit.
Wow, wow. Now, let's not also forget to celebrate diversity in traditions. If you're inviting guests from other cultures, consider incorporating one of their traditional meals. You could just ask your guest, tell me about your traditional meal.
Yeah, that is
And then
lovely.
surprise the person, just like you have said, I took note of that. Fata, fata.
Mm-hmm.
Fata, that's the meal.
Yeah.
So I could go on online and look at how fata can be
Fata.
prepared. And then I make it, and then when I invite you, you're stunned, you're shocked, you're saying, "Oh my God, there's fata here." So
That
yeah,
is
so we
lovely.
should know that it's reflecting Christmas. Now, let's before we close, Shirley,
Mhm.
let me hear you say something that our guests should not forget.
Wishing you a very happy end of year, that's for sure. And honestly, do the best of it.
Mhm,
Keep that beautiful spirit and this happiness going till next year.
mm.
Enjoyed that conversation very much today.
Now, from me, Christmas is ultimately about connection. It's about generosity and gratitude. It's a season of grace. It's a time to reach out to those in need, whether through a kind word, through a thoughtful gesture, or acts of service. Small things like donating to charity, sending a note to an elderly neighbor, or simply just being proper, prim and proper, could make Christmas very wonderful for other people. And until next time, we'll be talking about our topic is starting the new year with poise, resolutions, reflections, and refined habits. Shirley, do we want to just sing a Merry Christmas to our guests?
Merry Christmas,
We
everybody.
wish you a Merry Christmas. We
We
wish
wish
you
you
a
a
Merry
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
We
We
wish you
wish you
a
a Merry
Merry Christmas
Christmas and
and
a
a happy
Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to
to
you.
and your kin. Hmm?
Good
Enough.
tidings of Christmas and a Happy
Happy New
New
Year.
Year.
Good tidings.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Till next week, same time. Stay ready for etiquette conversations with Afi and Shirley. Merry Christmas.
Christmas. Looking forward to it. Bye bye.
Yes. Bye.